Hello, everyone. How's it going? How's everybody been doing today? It's been a bit, hasn't it? Hope you guys had a good time over the holidays. I have been pretty busy, uh, which left me unfortunately unable to stream, though I kind of anticipated that for most of December. Things have quieted down a bit, and I thought it'd be kind of nice if we took a look at the stuff we played in 2025 and, did a little tier list or something like that. Just something chill like this. Just talk about the games we played and kind of the thoughts I had on them. See where they kind of rank among each other, at least in terms of my own head. And then I realized, you know what? I never did that last year. Somehow I never got around to doing that. I think I wanted to, and I just didn't somehow. And uh, so I figured, fuck it. We'll do 2025, and then we'll do the non-2025 games that we played this year on the stream in 2025. Then I'll talk about some of the off-stream games or things I've been working on and rank those. And then we'll just clean it up and do the rest of the stuff we've ever streamed on the channel. So then next year, we can just update this list and it'll be as up to date as possible. It's got everything we've played, or basically things that I've been playing since I started the channel that I've finished. Notably that I've actually finished or that I played a serious amount of. If it's a game I've just booted up and played around with, I'm not doing that. And so if you see some weird stuff on here and you're like, we haven't played that on the channel, well, this will also be a good opportunity to talk about some of the stuff I've been working on, some of the stuff I've got footage of that I'm making into videos and stuff like that. So I think that'll be, yeah, we can cover a lot of stuff and have some fun doing a little tier list here. How's that sound? Now, it is a bit late at night. I don't know how much of the audience is even going to catch this, especially since I haven't streamed in almost exactly a month. But I don't even really do these that often. I'm a very organized person. I make spreadsheets of freaking everything I do, but I haven't really done a lot of these tier lists. So, I'm going to be very ad hoc about it. I did kind of script out the order I'm going through, and that's why I have things ordered here in the unranked section in kind of the order I want to talk about them. I think mostly it's for the 2025 games. It's mostly the games in the order they came out. But I also organized things here for things that were actually brand new games and things that were like ports that only came in 2025 to PC, or things that are remasters of older games, or things that got updates, or things that I didn't play like a full game of. So there's a method to the madness here. And I'm sure down to talk about these things. Maybe my rankings will change with some opinions here, though I kind of doubt it. I think I'm pretty set in stone on some of these. The actual order among the tiers, maybe I'll dabble with that. I actually wrote that down somewhere on the spreadsheet, but that's not what it's important right now. So let's just start by going and taking a look at our first game here. What do we have? Dynasty Warriors Origins. Dynasty Warriors Origins. Man, if you told me that Omega Force decided to make a good Dynasty Warriors game that was like not plagued by a million DLCs, that was felt completely new and good, looked good, didn't have some system that ruined everything, actually let you play through the story mode and actually feel like you were part of it, and had a good sized cast and stuff like that, I wouldn't have believed you. I think a lot of people got caught off guard by this game, right? It's when the demo came out. I remember tons of YouTube channels were like, what the hell? Why is this so good? What happened? And I've got to imagine that they finally hit an inflection point with this series where they were just not making enough money, even from DLC whales, to keep it going. Like, they had to make a better game. Either that, or they just got a bunch of new blood in that's like, I would like to not make shit for the next 10 years. Anyway, Dynasty Warriors Origins is really good. I didn't expect to have like a 100-hour story mode. That's crazy. Isn't that crazy? So in the playthrough, we played through each of the 3 routes. And I'm a Wei guy versus Shu or Wu. I like all of them, but I really like. I used to be a Wu guy when I was younger, and they don't call it Wu, but I feel like half the NPCs in this game pronounce things differently. So who knows if it's actually correct the way they're saying it. Especially on that one. But ever since I watched I think it's the 2009 Romance of the Three Kingdoms drama, I've been a Cao Cao guy. I'm like, oh man, this guy has been done dirty in these games for so long. He's so charismatic and funny and cool. But honestly, all the story modes were pretty good. The one thing I will say about this game is they have these what if story modes, and I was really excited for them. And of the 3, only one of them is worth your time. The other 2 are actually irritating. So the Shu one is basically nothing. Like, actually nothing happens. And the Wu one just kind of serves to piss you off. We're going to spoiler warning for anything we're talking about in here. So if you don't want to hear details about these games, having me rank them about their quality of the overall experience is not the right place to be. But the Wu what if story, I took a point off just for that, just how much it pissed me off. Because the what ifs are, they play them out differently, but in the Wu one, they're like, well, what if Sun Xian and Sun Ce don't die? And their answer to that is they just pretend that they did and nothing changes, and that fucking sucks, man. the Way one's cool because you can actually feel the differences. There's like a difference in outcomes, and uh, you know, the Battle of Cherby feels so crazy different when you're on the What If path with Way. It's great. Now there's DLC. I don't know if it's come out yet or if it's coming out soon. I think it's coming out in January. It's gonna be mostly focused on the non Three Kingdoms characters, and by that I mean like the Yellow Turbans, uh, Lu Bu, Yuan Shao, stuff like that. I'm really interested in giving that a try at some point. I don't know how many new games we're gonna be buying in the early part of this year. I'm gonna say not very many. I'm thinking I'm gonna be focusing more on smaller indie games and retro games, uh, at least in the early part of the year here. But you know, I'll get around to it at some point because I really like that stuff. So all in all, I rank this as a B tier game. I don't think it needed to be 100 hours, to be honest. But I enjoyed it. It was very fun. I guess way to describe the tiering here, at least in my mind, an S tier game is, I think it's one of the best games ever made. And there can be a lot of best games ever made because there's been a lot of games. What are the best albums ever made? There's tons of them, right? I don't have a problem having a lot of S ranks. These are games that I think are just timeless, and I would just go back and play anytime, and I probably will play multiple times. A rank game is a game that's very good, and I probably will replay it at some point, but it's just missing like that final push to be something that like I could. The S rank games I can talk about all day. The A rank games I can talk about for a while. A B rank game, I think a good game could be a B rank game, and that's a fine place for it to be. That's where Dynasty Warriors is going to go here. C rank, C rank is it's missing something. Something's wrong. Um, I'll play through it, but I'm probably not going to replay it. I have no desire to replay it. That's a C rank game to me. B rank, I can enjoy it, but the chances of me going through and playing, especially a long game over again, that's a B rank, are not that high. And then D rank, are games that I feel failed in what they attempted. They don't even have to be bad games. I can even like something about the game, but feel like it just didn't do what it was supposed to do. And that's a D rank game for me. I'm not gonna have a lot of D rank games on here, and the ones I am gonna have, they all have some caveats to them. In general, I don't like to spend a lot of time playing games I don't like, so there's not gonna be a ton of very low ranking games. Some people go out and look for shit games to play, like funny shit games, and that's fine. I just don't tend to do that. God knows we don't have enough time for everything we want to do. So why spend it playing things we know we're not going to like, right? Oh, what do we have next? Next, I've got Bleach Rebirth of Souls. So this is the Bleach fighting game. I think it just got its last piece of DLC. They took. We'll get to that. This was fun to play through. I enjoyed the single player content. I did feel the limits of the fighting game system. It felt very much like Bleach, the way the reversal system worked. And I think it succeeds on that. One thing I have to say, though, is it's a fighting game. This game was dead on arrival. Dead on arrival. I can't even imagine being able to get into a match right now. And yet they're still releasing DLC like it's a year later. They should have had that entire DLC released within like 3 months. Like, that was the only way to keep that game's heart beating, and they just didn't even try to do that. So I played for the single player, and it was fun, and it was pretty faithful to it in a really cool way. And I really enjoyed that. They've added DLC that's for the 1,000-Year Blood War. It'd be cool if there was story DLC that came with those characters, but there wasn't. They'd have to have way more characters to actually make that work, though. So I kind of get that. Yeah, but I'm just it's a fighting game you can't play with anyone at this point. After you beat the single player, that's what it is, right? So I'm giving this a C rank. Even though I kind of enjoyed it, it's just a game. Even if I wanted to, I couldn't replay it that much, right? That's how I came to feel about it. I don't feel strongly that it was bad. I feel like it's a dead game that can't serve its purpose, which is too bad. Too bad because it feels like Bleach kind of had a resurgence with this Thousand Year Blood Year anime. I've never even watched it. I was a manga person, um, but it seems like it got like 3 seasons, so people must be liking it, but not enough to play a game. At least not on PC. I actually, you know what? This thing didn't even get mentioned anywhere near any fighting game lists at the end of the year. So yeah, this can't be higher than C. There's not even that many fighting games this year, and it didn't even get mentioned. All right, what do we got next? Everhood 2. Everhood 2. So I really love the first Everhood, and I think Everhood 2 is a really good sequel. I think it does a lot of things well. Its gameplay system is just different enough that like you have reasons to play Everhood or Everhood 2, right? You have different things. I do think that the music is there's not as many memorable tracks in Everhood 2. The Dimitri track's pretty good. Um the the track where you're against the dragon or whatever you want to call it, the fear fight, that was pretty good, and that's literally the only songs I can remember. Versus Everhood, which had tons of music I can think of right off the bat, like in my head. It had the community mod. Oh, you know what? Actually, hold on. Because that goes into. I'm just gonna skip ahead. This is a C rank game. Um, I just said all that nice stuff, but I do have to say one thing about this game. This game has the worst landing of any video game I've ever played. I'm trying to think of a game that's ending ruins it more than this game. And I'm not the type of person that where that usually is a thing that I would even consider a factor. Like I can separate things out. I find the end of this game so cynical, so lazy. I it's they created a community workshop thing. So basically the ending of the game, it just gives up. The game just gives up. It gives up in the middle of its story. It just stops, says lol, lol, end of game. That's literally what it does. And then it's like, oh, it never ends because we have this community mod workshop thing built in, and you can go to all these custom made worlds that people will make. People will make our game for us, is literally the conclusion they came to because they couldn't figure out how to like finish their game. They can disguise it around all this philosophical stuff, but what it came down to is they didn't know how to finish their game. They got lazy and they said the community will do it for us. And guess what? They didn't. Have you go look at that community workshop? There's almost nothing in it a year later. No one gave a shit. They pissed everyone so badly that they just did. If it was Everhood 1 that had that feature, people would have probably if the game that came out was Everhood 1 with that feature built in from the start, there'd be all kinds of shit in it. But they alienated everyone with that ending. I and like I said, that's not usually how I judge a game, but I feel very strongly that this game destroyed itself, basically. And then we got the complete opposite. Deltarune. So obviously Deltarune chapters 1 and 2 have been out, but Deltarune chapters 3 and 4 released, and they released, on consoles with a price tag as like a buyable game finally, right? So this was like the real, even though the game is halfway done, this is the real release. And since I'm talking about all the games we've done on the channel anyway, that doesn't even matter that much. But I'm treating it as a 2025 game, talking about chapters 3 and 4 specifically. Deltarune is one of the best games ever made, and it's not even halfway done. It's better than most of the games we played this year. It's man, where to even start with this game, right? Undertale is obviously an amazing game. I do think Deltarune is a better game. Halfway done, it is a better game. And that's not because Undertale's a bad game, but I guess, spoiler, Undertale's an S rank game too, as far as I'm concerned. No, it's everything about Undertale better, more fleshed out, more deep. The gameplay, just joy every second. Every diversion, every off tangent it takes is just joy. The music is some of the best ever made for a freaking video game. I love the way it looks. Each chapter has a bit of a different feel to it. Not just in what the story is happening, but how the gameplay feels. It feels a little bit different in each of them. They have different things they're focusing on. Like in the way that, chapter 3 has like the board game section, whereas chapter 4 has got these climbing sections. So, and they're, you know what, no matter how many times things they try, they're all fun. They're all good. And for a game that comes off so simple, I feel like the game is very emotionally resonant. And I feel like it's one of those games, like, the more you want to dig into it, the more you will get out of it because it's there. You're not making stuff up when you're digging in. It's there for you. I played Expedition 33 and loved it. And I think a little secret room in Deltarune in chapter 4 that is just almost completely up to my interpretation what I'm being shown actually means was more emotionally resonant than almost anything else I played this year, including one of the best games ever made. I don't get it, but it's impossible for this game to not be an S rank for me. I can't wait for chapter 5 this year. I cannot wait for it. I have no idea where it's going to be going. I mean, that's not true. I have a million ideas about where it's going to be going, but I don't have enough time in the world to talk about them. If you want to hear me talk about this game in depth, I've got an initial playthrough of the new chapters as well as a secrets hunting playthrough where I'm just talking about every theory and thought that enters my mind as I replay and notice new things. Go check that out because I'm having a lot of fun doing it. You'll probably have a lot of fun listening, not just watching the game, but just all the weird shit I'm talking about. I love games that let me do that. I really, really love games that let me do that. 1 second here, guys, while I check on something, if you don't mind. How are we looking? Let's check our bit rate. It looks like our bit rate is doing well on Twitch. Love to see it. And then over on YouTube, we are good. Hey, wouldn't you know it, you go a month without doing anything, and your viewership is low when you do a stream late at night on the day you come back. That's okay. You guys could enjoy this afterwards. I was hoping we'd get a bit more people in, we could talk about the games, but that's okay. If it don't work out that way, it don't work out that way. We're gonna have to get the gears rolling. The algorithm hates me right now because it's been gone a month. It just happens, right? So, what do we got next? Expedition 33. Oh, here we go. One of the best games ever made. I know there's been a weird backlash to this game. There's been a weird amount of backlash to this game because it's being so celebrated. It's not an understatement though. It just isn't. It's one of the best made games of all time. Period. In every aspect. In every aspect. Some of the best character work you'd ever see in a game. Amazing music. The battle system, just infinite ways to play, and it's all so fun. Probably like the biggest like celebratory like accomplishment, like gaming kind of like high, is just when I went into these areas in the game knowing, oh, this is meant for like 40 hours later. And I'm like, but I can make it work. And then I do it. I have so like my favorite screenshots on Steam this year are like these 40-minute fights against these level 80 enemies while I'm like level 20 where I get, a no-hit win. Just amazing that you can do that. It's an RPG where you don't have to grind. You can just be good. You can just get good at the game. I've said it many times that I've become the older I've gotten, the more anti-grind I've become, even though I love RPGs. And this game is like the top of that, right? Like it's the epitome of a game that feels the same exact way. Um, Even getting the new abilities on the Pictos like takes like 4 fights, nothing. And then guess what? It's for everybody. Every feature is designed to be as frictionless as possible. I mean, there's the friction of difficulty, don't get me wrong, but I mean in terms of the user interface and how it controls and everything. And yeah, that third act is just, it's such a, you can start like, there's parts of it you can see coming, and I think there's just parts of it you just don't. And it's not because it's bullshit or an ass pull, it's just so well set up. Um love this game. Uh the new update came out. We're getting Game of the Year, and I'm definitely gonna be playing that soon. I might stream it. I don't know how much. See, so the part of that is they added super versions of super bosses, super bosses at the top of that challenge tower. I don't think I beat Simon, right? Like I beat the game's like hardest boss. I beat everything in the game before that update, right? But I felt like Simon, in the same way that like Radon in Elden Ring was like, this is the limit to what you can possibly expect from people. um, but no, if you look online, people found ways to cheese Simon, and these super bosses feel like they were designed to give you multiple fights, designed to be anti-meta. And I love that. Even the new, I've seen someone playing through the new content, even the new Pictos are meta changing Pictos. And I love that. There's so many of them. Like it already had infinite ways to play. Now that's gone even farther. And that's so cool. There's a lot of, this is a game I could talk about all freaking day long, but suffice it to say, it's an S rank game for sure. What do we got next? Remember, I'm going through the games that are like by all metrics brand new in 2005 first. So these aren't all exactly in the order we played them. No Sleep for Kaname Date, the new AI the Somnium Files game. This was like an interquel between 1 and 2, though it doesn't really connect to 2 in a meaningful way. And that's the kind of the problem with the game. Like nothing feels like you can say the term in a meaningful way. I saw someone make a comment that this is like a fan disc game in a visual novel, and I think that's just 100% what it is. This is not meant to be a main story. This is meant to be a fun jaunt with characters you like from these visual novels. And I had some fun with it, but in both AI the Somnium File and especially in Nirvana Initiative, and we planned to play that, but I couldn't get to a Nirvana Initiative before this release, so we never ended up doing that. Maybe we'll do it some other time. But both of those games had a moment that makes you go, I feel like in the first game it's easier to catch, but in the second game, it's really like someone just took a baseball bat to you. Like you just don't blindsided you. You stand up and you start pacing the room, thinking about like how could I not have seen that coming? There's just no moment like that in this game, and that sucks because I feel like that's like part of what makes those two games really good. It's also what makes them hard to talk about because it's kind of like 999 and Virtue's Last Reward, same writer, right? Like there's things you want to experience the first time, right? Like I'm not a very spoiler averse person, but visual novels are definitely more susceptible to that because they're all about the story, right? Um yeah, and I think some of the puzzle rooms were a bit weak too. Or they took too long. Yeah, there's a lot of the puzzles just took too long in this game too. That's another thing. It's a C game. It was alright to play through. I don't feel like I'd ever replay it. Even if I replayed other AI games, I probably would skip this one. Hollow Knight, Silksong. In spite of how angry this game made me sometimes, this is an S rank game. Silksong is. I've seen a lot of people say that they think it's just a full on improvement to Hollow Knight. I actually prefer the original Hollow Knight more, the more I think about it. I feel like the vibe of the original Hollow Knight, the pacing, the difficulty curve, the field, the exploration is actually perfect. Like it is it's one of my it might be one of my top 5 games, the original Hollow Knight. Silksong definitely ups everything. But I don't know if upping it means it's better. The combat is more intense, it's faster. The exploration is more intense, it's faster, it's bigger. It's more dynamic. A lot of things, everything about Silksong is bigger than Hollow Knight. And it's perfectly executes what it wants. It is too hard to recommend to people, to most people. It just is. And that's what they wanted it to be. It's clearly what they wanted it to be. Even the small things that they changed in patches don't really change the overall curve of this game, I don't think. And there are some things that I think are legitimately just mistakes, like there are some fights, there are some sections of this game that I think, I mean, I said it when I was playing it, and what I said back then in the heat of the moment is pretty much exactly how I still feel about it, months later. There are just parts of this game that are too much. But that doesn't make it bad. Is the thing. It doesn't decline it as a good game, a good piece of art. It's sometimes something should be too much. Why not have something that is too much? And for the people that can handle too much, have something unique to enjoy. Hey, I beat it. It's not like I stopped. It's not like I didn't beat it. And I definitely will play it again. And it'll probably be more pleasant to play it again. I'll be frustrated by the skills I'll lose in the interim, but just knowing what to expect, I think, in the same way that Hollow Knight is just an incredibly pleasant game to replay. Just one of the most relaxing games to replay. Silksong will not be that. No matter how many times you play Silksong, it'll never be a relaxing game. But it doesn't have to be a great game. Next we have Digimon Story Time Stranger. This was the last of the oh no, there's Megabonk too, but that's a bit of a different case. Digimon Story Time Stranger is probably the game that surprised me the most this year. Just looking at the 2025 games. Yeah, it's the game that surprised me the most. I've made it pretty clear my feelings on how I perceive the way Bamco approaches and treats licensed IP games. I've said it so many times, especially during the playthroughs of this. I talked about it. I've always, at least for like the last 10, 15 years, I've held the feeling that Bamco intentionally makes half-ass games so they can make 2 games for each half of the ass to sell to you twice. Like they'll give a game that in a license you like the best story and shit gameplay. They'll give you good gameplay and a bad story, or a poor selection of the things you like from it, from a franchise. They're like, Digimon's like this, Gundam's like this, all kinds of anime IPs and stuff like that. They get published through Bandai Namco. The only thing that doesn't get this is From Software, because they make so much money that Bandai Namco keeps their hands off the production process of From Software games, Well, this game actually did it for once. For once. In the same way that Dynasty Warriors Origins finally did it right. Um, I gotta think it's just a new generation of developers. It's gotta be, right? It's gotta be, there's gotta be a new generation of developers in Japan that are coming into leadership roles for the actual production process that's making a difference in these things that used to be problems that are now releasing their best game in decades, right? And this is the best Digimon game. This is. It just is. Um, I understand that there's people that like the Digimon World, like pet raising sim games. Even if I could put myself in the shoes of someone who liked that, there's no denying this is the best game they've released. This game actually had like emotional moments in its story, which is crazy. Like it's hard to even conceive of a game like this being like emotionally mature in any way. But yeah, there definitely was, especially in the let's call it the this game okay, so the beginning of this game has some problems. It basically there's these separate acts in the game, right? And the first act in the human world, um, it's a tutorial essentially, but I think it's a tutorial that goes a bit too long. The game really begins when the title drop happens, when you get to the digital world, and it just puts every other monster game to shame. How beautiful the entrance to that world is, and how it keeps just going, and it keeps winning, it keeps working. The gameplay is really fun. I love that using items and switching is a complete free action in that game. It lets you just weave your team in and out. It's an evolution. Like Cyber Sleuth is a decent game, but this is such an improvement over it that I think people are making the comparison are missing how much of a jump in quality it actually is. And that section of the game that goes from your first entering the digital world uh, to essentially, I'm going to say my favorite part of the game is the return to the human world and then the return to the second phases of the human and digital world where there's these little vignette stories and they're using like classic like German silhouette animation, like Lot Reiniger animation to tell all these folklore tales and stuff like that, like these prophecies involving these characters. And some of them are just really good. I think the strongest part of the game is the Shellmon Divemon storyline. I think that one's the best one. It's really good. It's really good. You don't expect the story to turn that dark for a bit. But then you fight back from it. Like it doesn't let itself steep in it. Because a game like this probably shouldn't be that all the time, but it wasn't afraid to go into that. And I find that really interesting. And the gameplay is amazing. Like in terms of just like raising your team, getting all these combinations, the animations look great. The fact that all the monsters are voice acted is awesome. There's just so much care put into everything that you just don't see in its competitors. I'm not even going to talk about actually, I'm going to talk about its competitor for a completely different reason. Way later in the stream here. Now the DLC is coming out, but it's not all out. I'm going to play that DLC when it is out. I'm going to wait for it all to be done so I can play it all at once because I feel like it's probably not enough for a full stream each DLC. I don't think. If I'm wrong, let me know and maybe I'll do that. But I feel like it'd be worth it once all the DLC out. Maybe the same as Dynasty Warriors Origins. Maybe we'll do updates on those games playthroughs once all their DLC is out. Because they're very much in the same vein. Now the DLC could probably be the worst part of the game. Who knows? Because that could be the origins of the game coming through and the way that the initial game surpassed it. But maybe not. I do know they have the Bancho Digimon, which is really fucking cool because they're some of my favorites. So we will have to do that. Anyway, I'm giving Digimon Time Stranger an A rank. I think it is a good game, and I'm next time I want to play a monster game, I might replay. I'm probably gonna replay this at some point. This is the kind of game you could easily do challenge runs for and have a fun time doing it too. Okay. So there is one more new 2025 game that's like completely new. It's not a port that came out in 2025, not a remaster or a re-release or something I only played like a demo of. And that's Megabonk. Megabonk's an A-rank game. This is it's so reductive to say it's 3D Vampire Survivors, but it is. And it just executes it perfectly. This is one of those games where you can just sit down and play it and chill. I often feel a lot of pressure that I have to be streaming to play any new game I'm playing, because if it's something really cool, then I missed out sharing that with people, right? I don't feel that way about these games. These like get in, jump in, arcadey style games. Like this and Vampire Survivors are games I play all the time off stream. Those are me games for chilling out, and I have so much fun. I love chasing all the different challenges and achievements and stuff like that. They're both updated all the time, right? This game's been given good updates. Also, if this is not something that goes into the ranking, I found it really respectable that the developer of this game asked the Indie Game Awards to take, or maybe it was the Big Game Awards, to take them off the indie list, like the debut indie list, because it was a developer that's released a bunch of other stuff that was just using a new pseudonym. Like, it would have been so easy for them to have taken the win for that award, because people love this game for good reason. But they did, and they let other stuff have a chance. But all that aside, one of the other things that's great about this game is the leaderboard system, which is, it's good in so many ways. One, it gives you something fun to chase. It gives you an idea of what weird thing is broken in the meta, so you can try it out to see what kind of ludicrous stuff you can do, because half the fun in these games is seeing how crazy you can get things, right? But what it also does is also helps balance the game so well, because you what you can see is obviously dominating, the dev can see, and the dev responds to what he sees, and I love that. Very, very responsive, evolving game. I don't know how long tail they plan to support this game. I don't know if they intended for this to be like their big game moneymaker that they're gonna sit on forever, the way Vampire Survivors is. If they don't, I'm ready to get whatever they make next. If they do, I'm all for continuing to play it. I'll probably still play it even after it gets updates. Yeah, great game. Great arcade game. And this is the other thing about my ratings here. They can reach these for very different reasons, right? This was just so much better than it. Time Strangers was so much better than it had any indication of being able to be. Megabonk just comes in and is the ultimate off on your own time relax game, and it executes perfectly. I don't think it's like an all-time great game. I can't put it in S ranking, but it's a very good game, right? There will probably be a day where I forget about this game, but I'll enjoy the time I have with it, right? Okay, so we have some more here in this category. So next I have, there's one game that was a port to PC in 2025. It came out the year before, but I didn't get to play it myself until then, and that is Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. Probably the game I was looking forward to more than anything for the last couple of years. And I can't believe just how many more games kind of blew me away more than it this year. And it was still an amazing game. This is an A-rank game as far as I'm concerned. And I'm trying, when I think about this, I'm like, this game took everything Remake did and put it into one of the best sections of the game, one of the best parts of the game, which is the big exploration of the world, right? It's we had Midgar in Remake, and in Rebirth we have the world tour. And in the third game we have, the meteor fall, the final couple pieces, and then the meteor fall, or whatever subversion they decide to do with that. It's hard to tell. We don't know for certain, right? Its gameplay system is amazing. This is what a modern day Chrono Trigger would feel like. The team up system that's more than just saving up a bar to do attacks, but there's also like free passive actions that build resources that you can do with each party member, and they're interdependent between which two party members. It's amazing. It's actually like it's crazy to think of how good the combat system in this game is. Um, I might be talking myself into a higher ranking for it, but right now I still feel like it's an A. And the main reason it is an A is if this game had come out a couple years earlier, I don't think people would feel this way. I don't think I would feel this way. But I think everyone is hitting the same feeling at the same time, which is I think we've had enough like 120-hour plus RPGs the last couple years. I think we've just let's chill on that. Can we? Can these things be of a decent size? Which sounds crazy, but it's so much good game, right? But the problem is, I heard Gene Park say that he played through this game without doing the side quests. And I've got to wonder if that's just a better game. I've got to wonder if this is just a better game if none of the side quests were present. They're not bad. There's just so many of them that they clog you down. Like there's whole sessions, if you go look at our playthrough, whole sessions where I'm spending a long session just doing side quests for a certain section of the game, right? And some of them are fun, and some of them show cool stuff. But I gotta think, is that what made FF7 good? Not really. Not really. It's Final Fantasy VII's pacing is amazing. Like the original game's pacing, you're spending about an hour per section in that game, and it's, vista after vista, scene after scene, place after place, and it's always giving you something new. And I enjoyed spending the time in all these different areas. I just don't know if all of the small, what it is? It's the small tasks. The character side quests, all for them. It's mostly the kind of shit that you're going to do for Chadley. And what really sucks is when I think about this, is like replaying it and stuff, is that so much of the fun with the materia system is coming from the new materias they came up with in this game. There's so many new materias that do crazy things. And if you skip the Chadley quests, you're not going to get to use those, which sucks. I think and also this game is hard to replay. FF7, you can replay it as much as you want, but this game's huge. It's a commitment every time you play it. And Remake it is not nearly as big as this game. Honestly, I think Remake, like the battle system is clearly better in Rebirth, but I think Remake might be a better paced game overall. Yeah. Also, this is a very subjective, personal feeling. I think they cowered it out on this game a bit, story-wise. Somebody came in and interfered with the making of this game. I don't know who did it, but someone did. You can't look at what they were doing in Remake and the backpedaling that they did to hide from those big, bold moves that they did at the end of Remake in this game are really disappointing. Really disappointing. It's not. There's still like a sliver of hope that they do something really cool with this. But Square Enix is not doing well financially. This third game has to come out and be a moneymaker. They might be putting the pressure down to make it less creative than it could be. Less surprising than it could be. And I hate that. I hate that idea. We wait all these years and then... Come on. I want the team that stared right into the face of the people that didn't want this to be anything more than an up-res of an old game and said no which is what they did in Remake. They looked those kind of people in the face and said, no. We're a team. We're a new team, a new generation of people working on this game. We're working on this project for the next decade. We're not wasting our lives making a redundant game over a decade. They say that straight to the goddamn player's face at the end of Remake. One of my favorite things I've ever seen in a game. I want to see more of that, more than they had in Rebirth. So that's what I want more than anything in that third game. I want that energy to be pumped back up instead of whatever softening of attitudes that got forced. It had to be forced. There's no way you can make something like that and then do something like this. There's no way. Anywho, I'm going to be going crazy once they start showing stuff for that third game, which probably won't be long because they don't have the luxury of waiting long, I don't think. Next. So I have it written here as Lunar Silver Star Story Remastered, which is not what this is called. This is the Lunar. It's a collection, but we only played the first of the two games. And I would like to play the second game. I believe the second game is the one that people consider better too. Lunar is a cool game. You know, it was a Sega CD game. Like, it was on a couple things, but Sega CD is what it is. The vibe is it's a Sega CD game. It's like Sega CD's RPGs, right? And it is a decent RPG. It has some cute things about it. I certainly would like to play the sequel. There's someone working on a translation of, I believe it's a Game Gear game, but it also got an updated Saturn release. They might be done with it. I haven't checked that Discord in a while, but I'd like to play both of those. And I'd also like to play the Grandia games, which is the same people. There's a lot of fun stuff in it, but I, as a person who did not play those games back when they first came out, I had a Sega Genesis, but I didn't have a Sega CD because who the fuck actually did, right? I think maybe like one person I ever met had a Sega CD. And it wasn't like someone I even really knew. It was like a parent's friend's kid or something had a Sega CD. Only time I ever saw that. And we didn't even play on it. We played like the Power Rangers fighting game. But I think nostalgia is overwhelmingly affecting how people perceive this game. I do not think it is as good as it was made out to be, but it was a good game. It was a good RPG. However, that's all with an asterisk because I'm sure that the second game has a lot in it that makes you reflect on the first game a bit differently. So, just to say, I think the remaster was pretty good. I don't have, hands-on experience with the original game besides like testing out Sega Saturn or Sega CD games on my like RetroArch to really know if it was messing anything up. But it was fine. It was surfaceable. Like I said, I want to go back to the collection. Maybe not necessarily the first game, but the collection itself to play the second game. I'm going to give it a B. I feel like that's a comfortable place for Lunar here. The other remaster we played, Final Fantasy Tactics remaster. This was good. I don't know. I never looked up if it was the same people who did the Tactics Ogre Reborn. But it's clearly in the same frame of mind, the same quality. The voice acting was good. The update in the visuals was good. The new tactician mode, I think I'll be playing hard mode every time I replay this game from now on because I know the systems too well for normal mode, and knowing the systems is not enough to win tactician mode. Like, you got to be on your toes, and I love that. This used to be one of my favorite games ever made. It was in my top 5 until Tactics Ogre Reborn replaced it. but that doesn't mean it's far from the top 5. It's good. I think hmm, but is it S rank? Uh, it could be. This is one I'm very much on the edge of, but I think it can be. It's easily A. Um, easily just, and when it comes to games I'd recommend to people, I'd recommend down to B. Um, but I wouldn't be persistent about things in B. In A, S rank games are the ones I'm like, if you haven't played this, you really should, man. Like, you really should. People that are listening, you really should play these S rank games that you have not. Like, you're gonna understand immediately why you should have been playing them. A rank games, like, these are cool. Give them a shot. But I'm not gonna tell you, come on, play all the way through it. S rank game, play all the way through it. Come on, man. Come on. Uh, what do we got next? Baldur's Gate 3. So this is not a remaster report. This is a game that got big updates. So this got its final update, patch 8, Baldur's Gate 3. And we had started so you guys, in case anyone was wondering, I put them as, they're not private, but the first couple videos of the Baldur's Gate playthrough I did before we went to break are they're unlisted right now. I just don't think we're gonna have the time to do a full playthrough. And the main reason is there are things I played off screen while on break and recorded, and I was gonna do commentary for, right? This was one of them. Unfortunately, I hit a bug. I don't know. It only happened after a recent mod update, but it caused Shadowheart to keep disappearing every time I entered a new type of camp. It's just hard to make any progress. It'd be really frustrating to stream it like that. So until I know that issue is fixed, I don't think I should continue streaming it. But I don't know how long that's going to take. I don't know if an update's going to fix it or if it's just like a mod configuration confliction that I will never figure out. I can't guarantee that. And part of it's also, this game is one of those games that just, every session is so long. You take way more time than it's like a 4X game. You always take more time playing it than you realize. Like, time evaporates. You don't even realize it's passing. I think if I'm ever going to beat this game, it's going to have to be off stream. I've played through part 1 so many times, and I enjoy it. And basically, I played up to part 1.5, where you're doing the Kresh and the Underdark, right? You've done the Goblin Camp and everything in the starting area, the hag stuff, all the initial area stuff, but you have the 2 different paths. That's what I'm on right now, and what I would have been doing commentary up to if this bug hadn't been happening. But that has nothing to do with the game itself. These updates have been really good. They've added a lot of stuff. The game's just been very well supported, and the mods are great. I literally haven't had problems with it up until just now. And it is basically, there's just one mod that keeps updating. It's a big mod, and it'll probably be fixed really quickly, if I'm being honest. But regardless, this game is timeless. You can play this game an infinite number of times, as many ways as you want. And the mod support is so big that there is no shortage of ways to enjoy this already great game. It didn't need all the updates it got, but god damn, if you can't appreciate them, it's an S-rank game. I mean, I've been playing this game. It's the only game I played through the first act this many times without beating it. I will beat it. I'm gonna beat it. I don't know if it's gonna be on screen. Okay, here's the part where I start upsetting people. All right. I don't know. Maybe you get upset if I like a game that was really good. I don't know. Or I don't know. You want to go crazy about AI in Baldur's Gate because the CEO said something. I don't care about that shit. I care about if the game's good. Which most of the stuff that is heavily reliant on that is not. Just to be clear, I'm not saying that. But I know where to pick. I pick my battles carefully on this stuff. Here I'm gonna go pick a battle right now. Anna Dream Barbecue. This is very cool looking. The animations, I I watched the animations before I played this game. They're cool. I hadn't actually seen them before. I'd only seen the character posted on like image boards and stuff like that as reaction images and stuff. Um, Animations are pretty cool. The game looks really cool. There was only one chapter out. That's what we played. I honestly, bold, honest truth. When I downloaded that, I didn't think it was going to be early access. And that's because the game doesn't say it's early access. It literally just doesn't say it's early access. And I'll be honest, that pissed me the fuck off. If you're an episodic game, you're early access. Like, you just are. But maybe that's semantics. I don't know. I feel like I was kind of enjoying it while playing it. Like, kind of. I was enjoying watching things happen, right? But I didn't enjoy it as a game. I really didn't. And then there's like a philosophical angle to this where I don't want to hurt anybody's feelings that likes this. I think it is style over substance. I really do. I really do. I actually don't like the like if you go look in like art movements and stuff like that. I don't like the Dada movement. I don't like absurdism. Like there's elements of that I can appreciate, but I really don't like cynical art. I really don't. Um and I find this highly cynical. Like it's laughing at its cynicism, but it's cynical and it just I feel like it's the same kind of feeling I get from the ending of Everhood 2. Um God, I don't want to be mean. But if I'm trying to explain the way I feel, I don't know. Um I think it takes a certain amount of cowardice to make work of that kind of nature. Like you're afraid to share sincerity and meaning in something. Um it sounds so harsh because it's way better looking than a lot of games. It does a lot of creative things, but I just can't escape the feeling that like it would have been fine as an animation. It didn't need to be a game at all. Like at all. The interactivity has almost nothing to do with it. So this is a D rank for me. Doesn't mean it's bad. Just means I don't fuck with it at all. And you know what? I'm not like it's not set in stone. I'll play the next when the next episode comes out. I'll try it, and maybe I'll feel differently about it. I feel like it's creative enough, and I can see that there's enough hard work being put into it that it's worth giving it the full shot. It's just that with what I got, there's a difference between like you play something and like this isn't fun, and you play something and there's like a feeling in the pit of your stomach that just says I don't like this. Like in a different kind of way. And that's what I get from this. And I don't know why. I don't know why. Now here's a D ranking I can confidently say. Unbeatable. We played the demo for this. So, context. I played the white label demo when the idea was first basically getting prototyped. Enjoyed the gameplay of it. Thought it was pretty cool. And then the demo for like the full game for what was the upcoming full game came out. And that demo turned me from someone who was excited for the game to someone who doesn't even want to bother with it. It just made me not want the game anymore. It took me from wanting the game to not wanting the game. Because their priorities are fucked. Everything about that game feels like its priorities are fucked. They forgot to make a good game, and and it was just a bunch of other shit. And it's another case of a really cool looking game. The soundtrack seems nice. but like everything about it just screams we wish we could have made something that was anything but a video game. And then we made the video game because I guess that's what we could do. I don't know. Maybe the full game is way better, but that demo is probably one of the worst demo slices I've ever played in a game. Like, you watch me play that game, you can see how I start out excited and how irritated I get with what it's doing in that demo. This isn't a rating of the game, it's a rating of the demo. Maybe the game's different. I'll never know. Unless someone who's played it that I know comes to me and says, I played the demo and then I played the game, and the game is not that demo. If someone does that, then they'll give it a shot. Because I wanted to play it before, but I kind of got to trust my own instincts on it, right? All right. And that is the 2025, like the pure 2025 releases, right? With remasters and ports. So the next category is games we streamed in 2025 that are not 2025 games. Okay? So give me 1 second here while I peruse my notes here real quick. Okay. Okay. So, are these in order? Let me take a look. Are these in order? I think these are in order. Well, they're mostly in order. Maybe they're not. I'm looking at the script. It's not so much a script as much as my cliff notes for why I gave these ratings. Anyway, the first game we're going to talk about, which was a non-2025 game we played in 2025. That's this next section. Is Metaphor ReFantazio. And that's because the game literally came out so late in 2024 that the playthrough went into 2025. I was loving Metaphor when I was playing it. I can barely remember it now. It's like my note here is it is insane that this game has completely escaped my memory versus the other RPGs that came out this year. That's crazy. Like I don't know how well to weigh that in my own personal appraisal of the game, because I feel like when I was playing it, I was like, yeah, this is awesome. Again, the same feeling I talked about with Rebirth, where there's just been way too many 100-hour plus RPGs coming out next to each other. Just there, it will never be worse. It'll never be worse than like the last 2 years when it comes to you can just play 100-hour RPG into the other every like daisy chain them without a gap. It's crazy the way things released. That's not the fault of the game itself, except for the fact that does the game need to be that long? Does the game need to be that long? Metaphor might. It might. Definitely more than Final Fantasy VII Rebirth had to be. Definitely more than Dynasty Warriors Origins had to be. Not as much as Baldur's Gate 3, because Baldur's Gate 3's time comes from its replayability. Digimon Time Stranger was a 100-hour game too. But I don't feel that bad about it. I feel like I was just more impressed they were able to make a 100-hour game that just has so much shit in it. I was more impressed than I was feeling it was long in the tooth. I don't know. I'm actually having trouble giving opinions about Metaphor, because like I said, it feels like so much of it has escaped my memory because of all the other stuff that I played this year. And on one hand, maybe I shouldn't hold that against it. On the other, maybe that means it's just not as memorable. I'm going to give it a B. It's a good game. I don't think I'd replay Metaphor. Yeah, I don't think I would replay Metaphor. I think it's a great game to play once that's long and big. Yeah, it's a B rank. I think that's a perfectly good place for it. I could definitely understand someone that thinks it's better than that. But since I can barely remember it, despite the fact that I enjoyed it so much, there's a weakness there, right? It represents some kind of weakness. Uh Next, Final Fantasy VII, not the actual game, the Echo S mod. This is the voice acting mod for Final Fantasy VII. Which, continually gets updates and stuff like that. This is basically, what's the experience of playing like a modded Final Fantasy VII today? That's what this ranking is. And you know what? It's an A ranking. It's not an S ranking like the actual game itself is, but it's awesome. Now, the voice acting is, some of the characters are better voice acted than others. Some of them just feel like better castings than others. And some of the characters feel like their voice acting gets better the farther in script you go. The later things were recorded. But I'll tell you what, especially if you're like streaming and stuff like that, having a game that's full text have a voice acting mod is really pleasant. It saves your voice and it gives you extra things to comment on. Now, I put it as Echo S mod here, but it's also just like the different quality mods you get with Seventh Heaven mod manager and stuff like that. So there's some gameplay modifications and stuff like. All I'm trying to say is that a modded playthrough of FF7 using like the main mod system is really great in its own right. It's worth its own playthrough for fun. I think it's just a solid A. I will probably play with mods on FF7 anytime I replay it at this point, because I played the original on its own so many times. But the original is an S, and all the goodies from mods are an A on their own. Final Fantasy VII Crisis Core Reunion. 1 second, guys. Excuse me. Let me get a drink of water. I'm yapping a lot. I knew this was going to be a yap stream. That's why I put the just talking on Twitch. Final Fantasy VII Crisis Core Reunion. Okay. This game, I've always defended it. When I went to go make this tier list, I felt like my opinion on it started to change, to be honest, when I thought back to the playthrough. So here's what I'm going to say about Final Fantasy VII Crisis Core. It has a great protagonist. I enjoy the story. I think there are some incredible moments, especially the ending of the game. I think that Crisis Core Reunion, the remaster, is really good looking, but it's got some problems. One of the problems is that Zack's voice actor change was before the voice actor got used to the role. It's really clear. You listen to Zack in Rebirth, and he sounds great. You listen to Crisis Core, he doesn't. Sorry, 1 second, guys. Okay. Yeah, so that's one problem. That's not, I mean, some people don't even mind that, though. Also, there is a mod you can do that uses old voice acting if you really don't like that. Like I said, that voice actor, he really figured things out. Zack he fits Zack perfectly in Rebirth. So, I don't know. He was just, they must have, maybe we could say Crisis Core was needed in order to get that good performance in Rebirth. Maybe that's the best way we look at it, right? Now, what's Crisis Core's biggest problem? Crisis Core's biggest problem was that it was one of the best PSP games. And you know what made a good PSP game? It was fun. It wasn't too long, but it had a lot of side content you could just play in between sessions when you're just, going around with your portable game system. You know what makes a bad sit down and play experience? All those side quests. So much of the fun materia and features and abilities are behind those side quests, but they are extremely unbalanced. And that's what I really noticed the last time we played the game. Just how imbalanced. Well, okay, the time before the last time, actually. What I noticed was just how imbalanced those side quests are. If you do side quests for an hour, you will become so strong that nothing in the game will challenge you on hard mode for the rest of the game. It ruins the game balance. If you don't do it, you lose out on all sorts of fun tools. So it's a damned if you do, damned if you don't kind of thing. And it definitely feels better to play than it did on PSP for obvious reasons, because the controls are just, it's using a better control interface. It looks good. It's Final Fantasy VII, and it's not bad Final Fantasy VII. It's not Dirge of Cerberus. But I think the last time we played it, I skipped the side quest, right? And that's the way you should play it. If you play the game that way, it is a B. But that is a limitation you have to put on yourself, and the player playing it the first time probably won't know that. I think the PSP-ness of this game in its gameplay loop structure, it makes it a C game. And I've always argued it's better than a C game. But I think that's just the reality of it now. All right, what do we have next? Xenogears. And we played that with the Perfect Works mod. Yes, my favorite game. It's my favorite game. Xenogears is my favorite game. I don't think it's just my favorite game. I think it's one of the best games ever made. Flat out. I think even with its notorious production quirk, it still manages to be that. No game gives as much of a shit as Xenogears does. Xenogears cares. That game fucking cares. It just that sounds like such a weird thing to say, but I think that's maybe the most accurate way to put it. Xenogears gives a shit. Xenogears cares about everything. As a game and beyond, they cared. Perfect Work mod. This might be a bit of a commentary on that more than the game itself. The game itself is an S rank. The Perfect Works mod is not as overwhelming as like the mod you would use with Seventh Heaven on FF7. But there are some like, it's like this with a lot of RPGs of that era. There's like some things that don't exactly work the way they were supposed to, programming wise, with certain abilities and stuff like that. I feel like that one thing they did really good is making the characters that are just weaker because of the stats that ended up mattering more in the game. They balanced those characters out really well to make them useful for a playthrough, which is so fun. It means you're like using Rico or Choo-Choo or Maria. Okay, Maria was always broken if you understood what she was. But you're not going to use the exact same party you use in most playthroughs of Xenogears with the Perfect Works mod, which is fun. Also, the script cleanup is nice. I've never had a problem with the Xenogears script personally, but I can see where they've cleaned things up, and for the more particular people, you're probably going to want that. Honestly, it's just like, it's a quality of life thing on the best game ever made. Yeah, I went there. I just went and called it the best game ever made. That's my opinion. I don't care if you disagree. So yeah. Okay. Tactics Ogre Reborn. We're really just getting into my favorite games of all time now. This is also an S rank game. This is the best tactics. This is the best like strategy RPG of all time. Bar none. I played a lot of these things, okay? I played a lot of games. I've done two 200-hour playthroughs of this fucking game. 100% playthroughs of this game. You gotta be a really, really, really goddamn good game for that. The voice acting is great. The gameplay systems are fantastic. I love the unit variety. I love the monster collecting. I love the story. I love the story. I love the story. It's one of the best fucking RPG stories. It is amazing how grounded and real it feels sometimes. I love its take on morality. It is so interesting and different from everything else. Final Fantasy Tactics was a smoothing off of the edges of Tactics Ogre. And Final Fantasy Tactics is one of the best games ever. This is the raw game. And that raw energy is just better. And I don't mean that in a way to diminish FF Tactics. I'm just saying FF Tactics was one of my favorite games. And I feel like Tactics Ogre straight up replaced it. I'm like, this is the game that got made before it by the same team. And it has all this stuff going on that's just so interesting. You can have like deep conversations about the characters in this game and the things they do and the choices they make and the choices you make and how they affect things. And they're just the best timeline system in any game I've ever played. Just how everything cascades. Like you truly don't do things that are insignificant in this game at all. Everything has a consequence. And you can play it out and see it. And not everyone has the desire to see every single permutation. But for those people, there's playthroughs like mine. And the deep dungeons are really fun if you want a challenge, right? Like the deep dungeon content's just really fun. And you play this huge game with basically 3 distinct games converging their stories, and then you get this amazing, the best epilogue in any game I've ever played. The best epilogue. I guess it's a coda on the story, but for most people, those words mean the same thing, right? It is just the best at doing that of anything I've ever played. Well, I don't know that for certain. There's something I'm just getting to the epilogue of that I might change. I might feel differently about. But Tactics Ogre and Xenogears are both in my top 5. So I'm not gonna. There's no fighting this. And I'm gonna also say this: I've never played the Super Nintendo version of this game. I've never played the PSP version of this game. Some people really fight over these versions and feel like Reborn ruined it. I'm not going to go back and play those old versions because I played this version and it's one of my top 5 games. I don't need a different version of this game. I have this version of this game that I played 400 fucking hours of, people. Between the 2 playthroughs. This is a game where I played 200 hours on my own time when I wasn't streaming, when it came out, and fell in love with it. And knowing of what it would mean to stream a 200-hour game, I thought it was worth it to do a stream of it. That's the strongest recommendation I can make. That I was willing to give that much time to it, right? Because I'm time's a scarce thing. I'm very aware of that. You don't get more of it. So if it's gonna be something, it's gotta be worthwhile. It's gotta be something worthwhile that it was so worthwhile I wanted to share with other people in order to do it twice, right? So, yeah. Okay. AI the Somnium Files. AI the Somnium. That's the first game. So, the Kaname Date, No Sleep for Kaname Date is like the 1.5 game. This is the first game. It is better. It is definitely better. This is a great visual novel. This is a great visual novel to recommend to people who don't usually play them. It's like a fun detective game. The characters are fun. It's cringy, but it like there's stuff that's cringy. There's stuff that's very funny in it. The puzzles are fun. I like the mind hacking kind of thing. The twist is really cool in it. And I say it's cringe, but like the cringe is utilized. It's weaponized. Um, and you know how I feel like there's a movement where it's like it's okay to be cringe. This game definitely has an ending that says it's okay, man. Just do it. But yeah, this is from the writer of 999, Virtue's Last, the Zero Escape games. So if you haven't played this game, but you have played those, hey, this guy also made this. It's really good. So recommend the Nirvana Initiative, but if we play that, I'll rank it. But as it is, it's an A rank game. 999 and VLR are S rank games, by the way. And then Zero Time Dilemma, I think I have to replay that to reassess what my actual feelings are on it. I think I need I've had distance, and I think I need to replay that game to know exactly what I think about it. But 999 and VLR are S rank games as well, even though I haven't played them while we've been streaming. Just as context. How's it compared to Nirvana Initiative? I think they're both around the same. I just think that Nirvana Initiative has a way bigger oh shit moment in it. Okay, next we have some of the horror games we played. Home Safety Hotline. This was fun. This is not a big game. This was a pretty short game. I like the conceit. I like how it's a simple, menu-based game. It's one of those things that was fun to just talk over trying to make the calls with the chat and stuff like that. Some goofy stuff. Nothing too serious. It's nothing to take too serious. I think we played the DLC too, which was fun. I think I actually had more fun with the Christmas DLC than I did with the base game. But overall, it's a decent game. Not much more to say about it than that. Faith, however, is an A-rank game. Faith is totally devoted to its idea and executes it perfectly. It looks like a game in an era in which a game of its nature would still have been impossible to make. You know what I mean? It looks like a second generation game, but its ideas are just too big for a second generation game. I liked each chapter. They were all cool. Some of the stuff in it was pretty tough. It carried such a great vibe. Hello, Partial. How are you? Yes, we're back, and we're doing a tier list of games from 2025 we played, and then once we're done with that, I never did it for the previous year, so we're just gonna go through all the games I played on stream, or I played while the stream was a thing. Maybe there's some off-screen games and stuff like that. But what was it talking about? Faith, right? Faith. Yeah, I just love how Faith is just totally. Its convictions are strong, man. It goes in hard, and it just does what it wanted to do really well in a way that, like, I think everyone who touches that game, even if they're not really into the aesthetic, can appreciate it. It's also not very long. You don't even have to play all the chapters. I feel like people can play Chapter 1 of Faith and have a good time. And just a single playthrough of Chapter 1. You're like, that's a cool game. What do we got next? Mouthwashing. Oh, mouthwashing. Yeah, this is another A-rank game, to be honest. Mouthwashing is crazy. It's psychotic. Not in a cruel way. There's cruelty in this game. But the game itself isn't cruel. It's just like it's watching a disaster happen. And then watching it happen in slow motion and in reverse and then fast forwarding. It's a mess. It's just it's a mess of a story, but it's really compelling. Fucking Jimmy, man. Fucking Jimmy. I want to replay it. I want to next we'll get back around to Halloween season. I want to replay it again. Just because I'm wondering how it'll feel on a second playthrough because it's in one of those games where you come back armed with some information and it feels a little bit different, you know? But at least from an initial playthrough, I was just like, it wasn't very long. It was like a movie length. It was like watching a movie. It was movie length. It was like interactive movie, basically. But you know what? It was a good interactive movie. Um, oh, well, the next one's easy as hell. Hollow Knight. Hollow Knight is an S rank game. Uh, and I was talking about this with Silksong. I do enjoy the original Hollow Knight more than Silksong. Um, it doesn't make Silksong not an amazing game. I preferred the pacing. I preferred the exploration in the environment. Um, I like I like the way the knight interacts with the world. So I didn't say this during Silksong when I was talking about Silksong, but it's so different that Hornet is actually talking to everyone, whereas the knight is just being talked to. And the knight is this little receptive little dude. He's just taking in everything you run into. You don't feel any opinion or judgment out of the knight. He's just doing his thing and taking in every new traveler he meets. Hornet's got opinions. Hornet's got uh, a way of looking at the world, and it changes the tone of the game, even with the way you interact with other characters. Hornet has more meaningful interactions with her NPCs, but they are very different in nature. Um, and Hollow Knight is basically the tutorial for Silksong. You have to be as good as the kind of person that beats Godhome in Hollow Knight in order to do early game Silksong. Like it's like a straight curve. Um but I just prefer the easier game. I think it's just because I feel like I can go back and play Hollow Knight and just relax and enjoy it and take it in. And Silksong, it's a sit up game. So Hollow Knight, you can sit back. Silksong, you have to sit up. Um, and those are both fun experiences, but I just prefer Hollow Knight. Dot hack IMOQ. That's infection, mutation, outbreak, quarantine. I'm treating this all as one game because it essentially is one game. So this was a interesting one. We went back to a PS2 game and actually a pretty earlier PS2 game. And I talked about it when we played it. It was a very interesting of its time thing. You can clearly see the things that took inspiration from it, right? But I think, being on break after playing it, just thinking about it, and just thinking, especially near the end, it's just an okay game to play. Its gameplay is not well aged. It's a C rank for me. I don't think the story is very mature or compelling. Honestly, there's some fun stuff in it. Some of the things I love most about the game are like the desktop and how you're getting emails about things going on in the world and the message boarding and like the things that make it feel like an MMO simulator are what's interesting about it. The actual dungeon crawling is it's just not that amazing. Maybe if I was more of a straight dungeon crawling game kind of player, like if I was an Etrian Odyssey type player, maybe I'd like it a bit more. Honestly, the thing that I got out of it most was remembering and rewatching and remembering how good Dot Hack Sign is. uh, but that doesn't have much to do with this game itself, except for the cameos. So, like I explained with the tiers, I don't think C's are bad games. They're just games I don't think I'll find myself replaying much. And the last of the games we played in 2025 that were not 2025 games, that's what category we're in, is Earthbound Beginnings. Giving this a C. This is an NES game. In some ways, I think it's better than the Super Nintendo game. I meant to go look up when these games came out, respective to other RPGs. In some ways, I feel like it's more impressive what Earthbound does on the NES. They are damn near the same game. I didn't believe people when they said that until I played them both. Spoiler alert. We'll get to that. But you know, nah, they differ in their back section. The back section of them differs. But just as like a Dragon Quest style RPG that is just set in a very different type of theming and environment, it does a good job. The inventory system is ass. And overall, I just think it's a decent RPG. I don't think it's really that impressive, but it's more impressive on the NES. Okay. Next section. This section is called Off Screen in 2025. These are things that I played through that I didn't stream or that I've been making that I did during the break here or earlier. Basically, things that I might have videos in the works for. And these are all games I've finished, or if it's an arcade game, played enough of. The first of these off-screen games that I finished that I want to talk about is Earthbound. Yes, I did go back and finish Earthbound. I did. We had two streams that were months apart, and then I thought I was going to drop the game. And I just didn't have it in me to drop this game that everyone talks about. I feel like I had to go play through it. I had to give it its due. And we will be seeing that in the next couple days. I have I recorded my playthrough for the rest of it, and then I did post commentary, and we have 3 Earthbound episodes that are going to come out. I don't know exactly when, but maybe in a couple days apart each, give them some breathing room. But basically I have 3 episodes I've cut down to about an hour each for Earthbound. And I have a more complete feeling about this game now. I don't hate Earthbound. I do think it is a little quirky chungus, and that's not enough to be a good game. But I will say this. The game has a much stronger ending than it has anything else. And I wish that quality that's in the ending was present in the mid-game. Because I think the mid-game is very poor in Earthbound. I think the inventory system, every person is going to jump in here to tell me it's the time, it's of the era, it's of the time. And no, it's not. It's not. I'm just gonna, you know what? Fuck it. I forgot to do this, but I'm going to do it. Earthbound release date. When did you come out, Earthbound? Earthbound came out in 94 for the Super Nintendo. All right. Give me a second. It came out which one was first? Hold on. Sorry, I'm trying to make a point here. Earthbound came out almost a half year after Final Fantasy VI. Okay, it's not a trailblazer. It doesn't need to have a completely non-functional inventory system that literally makes everything take twice as long. It doesn't need to have that. Here's what Earthbound has. It looks cool. It has a nice look. It's not, but guess what? It's nice, but it's nowhere near like a Chrono Trigger. Like, there's so many Super Nintendo games that look nicer than Earthbound. It's got cool, funky music. Not gonna argue against that. Um, it's got the whole different kind of theming going on. But again, I'm like, that's more impressive when you did it on the NES than when you did it like, when did Earthbound 1 come out? 89, 5 years earlier. It's a lot more impressive 5 years earlier. Um, so I'm gonna give a little spoiler here. So I hated the grinding in Earthbound. I hated it. I hated it. So you know what I ended up doing? I ended up like just turning on an EXP cheat and getting myself to 99 so I wouldn't have to grind anymore. And you know what? You can barely feel the fucking difference. You barely gain anything from leveling up. The game's just fucking annoying about it. That's what was crazy. Like, the only thing that makes a difference is getting a high level skill. And when I played, I just restricted myself from using the high level skills until I was late game. And it barely felt any different. And this was after I had played through about the halfway point of the game, right? And I was just getting tired. There's too many fights. The enemies respawn every single time their sprites go off screen. It's even in the ending when it was good, when it was getting good, there was like literally like 9 enemies clustered in a row that you couldn't walk past. And it's just like, why? But there's fun stuff. There's stuff that's really good about Earthbound. You know, one of the things I really like about Earthbound? I like that there's sections in the game when you're traveling in vehicles and stuff where you're just enjoying it. It's that feeling of being in the back seat just looking out the window during a drive and not thinking about much. I love that it does things like that. Um, it sometimes is funny. There are other times, however, like I can't even give it that compliment straight because there's several times in the game where the game is just being unfun in order to do a joke. Like it takes it too far and inconveniences you in a way that's just like, can you stop? um uh but what makes this a C game and not a D game for me is the ending. I think the ending is very creative. I think it does some really cool stuff. Um Honestly, there's stuff in the mid game. There's a couple pieces in the mid game that are like this. When you meet the fourth character and you're playing as him by himself, there's some stuff there that I thought was pretty cool. Um and I feel like the mid game drags so much, but the end game, the very end game is very cool. Um oh, and like some people find like the picture taker guide charming. I found it really annoying that how backloaded he is. He'll drop down every fucking 5 steps in the back part of the game, and it's kind of like I'm just slapping the speed up button on my emulator because I'm getting tired of him. I'm trying to get somewhere and he won't stop coming down. It starts to really irritate me. Um, it's a charming game. I just don't think that makes it a good game. I think the ending shows you where it could have been a good game if they put the same care everywhere. Um, yeah, so there's my very unpopular opinion about this game that people love, I guess. I don't think it's bad. I just think it's a very average game with a lot of outlier things. Here's what it is. every factor in this game is a huge outlier, but they end up crashing in the middle to make it an average game. Fantastic music, fantastic ending, sometimes good humor, a fun theme, terrible inventory system, not that great combat system, too much grinding, too much enemy encounters. You know what? Not having random encounters isn't a good thing if there's just a million things in your path that you can't get past. Like, that's just the same as having a random encounter every step. It's not functionally any different or feel any different. Um, uh, anyway, like I said, it swings, its highs and lows swing, and they meet in the dead center for me. Whereas Earthbound Beginnings is just a completely average game. Earthbound on Super Nintendo is a bunch of extremes that end up meeting in the middle. That's the best way I could put it. I guess I'll put it ahead of it. These aren't really ordered right now. I can order these after we put everything in. Sorry, I know that was probably more negative than I've given a lot of things, but I just finished it. Well, I didn't just finish it. A couple days ago, I finished it. So my thoughts are pretty thorough on it at this point. I'm not going to be convinced differently, probably. Okay. What else? Hey, you know what's something else I played a lot of off screen? I played a lot of Vampire Survivors. That's an S rank game. That is Vampire. If there was an evergreen game, it's Vampire Survivors. Boy, you can play this, boot up and play this game whenever. There's not. It's a. Oh, sorry. Give me 1 second. 1 second. Sorry about that. Had to adjust something really quick. Well, I was talking about Vampire Survivors. Oh, this game is so evergreen. So I didn't play the Balatro DLC yet. If anyone has and it's good, let me know. I'll get to it next time I have time. This is a game where I'm always trying to get all the achievements every time there's an update. I just haven't on like the last. I think just the last update is the only one I haven't. So I did the Castlevania DLC. I've done the older DLCs. I did the Castlevania DLC. I did the for Christ's sake, there was a Romancing Saga, or there was a Saga DLC of all things. Did that. That was fun. Probably better than that. Probably better than Saga Emerald Beyond itself. Because that doesn't look like a very good game, to be honest. Saga is the most hot cold series in the world for me. There are games I love and ones I fucking hate in that series. They always try something completely different in every game, and it doesn't always produce a good game. But we're talking about Vampire Survivors. Yeah, this is just another game where you could, in spite of the fact that it's like the most seizure-inducing game ever fucking made, it's a very relaxing game to sit back and play. It's a very pure game too, right? And they're so generous. Like, anyone who's played that Castlevania DLC, they give you so much stuff. Am I remembering right? Did they update that for this year and add even more stuff to it? Did that happen? In my head, I think that happened, but I'm not positive. If it did, I may have not gotten the new stuff for it. But that's crazy. Pretty sure that actually happened. But yeah, it's cool. What else we got? Oh, Pokemon Yellow. So this is not actually just Pokemon Yellow. This is Pokemon Yellow. It is a ROM hack called, I think it's just called Pokemon Yellow 151. Anyway, it's basically a ROM hack where the encounters have been adjusted to include all the Pokemon from all the versions in the various areas, and to make the trade Pokemon accessible, like the trade evolved Pokemon accessible for a single player. Essentially what it does is it makes it so you can actually get a full Pokédex in one Generation 1 game without needing to trade. So it makes it like good for emulator, basically. Um, like you can trade over emulators and stuff like it's a thing you can do. But what if you could just buy a version that just had everything in it? And that's essentially what it is, and it's really fun. And I've been recording myself playing it. I'll probably do like post commentary. It'll probably not be a live stream, but like a video series I'll put up. Uh, Me getting like a full Pokédex in it. Um, it's just really fun. I think it balances a couple things, but not a lot. It's mostly about, oh yeah, and Pikachu can learn Surf because you don't have to connect to Pokemon Stadium and win a bunch. All the stuff that like is like the peripheral aspect or the multiple version aspect of Generation 1 Pokemon, it essentially changes the game to accommodate you being able to just do it on your own. And also I think it makes the TMs reusable, maybe, or maybe it just changes placement of like the most useful ones to be rebuyable. Either way, it's just like the best way to play Generation 1, probably. If you're just wanting to do it and just collect everything and have a good time, it's what I'd recommend doing. And I'll have some videos for that eventually. I didn't finish it yet. I think I think I got to like Saffron City. I think that's where I had left off last. It's been a bit since I played it, but um, you know, I might go finish that and release some videos for it just for fun, just to see if I can get to a full Pokédex. I don't think I've ever actually done that in one of the games. Don't think I've actually done that. Not that they made it ever any easier to do as games moved on. And for transparency, I really haven't played Pokemon past Generation 4, Diamond Pearl, and the second generation remakes. That's about as far as I've ever played Pokemon. Um, but I never played Gen 3. I never played. Well, I played I played Gen 1 remakes, but not Ruby and Sapphire. So I have a very sparse Pokemon experience, and by that I mean I played nothing but Generation 1, 2, and 4 when I was playing them. You know what I mean? Like when I did play it, I was really into it. But basically as a kid, and then like like we had a little high school club where we'd trade Pokemon and stuff like that. So that's what got me back into it for Gen 4. But for Gen 1, yeah, I'd really recommend this. What would be really cool is if you could get this ROM to work with like a Pokemon Stadium ROM. That'd be really cool if I could take what I caught there and use that in Stadium and do like a Stadium playthrough. That'd be fun. What else? Ah, I've been playing Mega Man games. I've been wanting to do a series on the Mega Man games. And I was doing this way before they announced the new game. Way before. Some of these might be a year old. There's a lot of video things that I've gotten decent amount of footage on, and I just never got down to the editing phase or whatever. With the Mega Man ones, I really wanted to do a video series where I'm like going through the game, but I'm going through each version of the game, comparing them, bringing in stuff from like the Robot Master Field Guide, talking about the different characters, bringing in the different manga and comic adaptations of those games, and like making it one like a complete video about everything about Mega Man 1, like that kind of thing. Anyway, basically I've collected footage for the first 3 games and then alternate versions of those games. So I'm going to go through these decently fast. Mega Man 1, if you've ever played Mega Man 1, you know this game is janky as fuck. It's fun, it's still cool. It's definitely good enough of a game to have gotten and enjoyed for sure, but there's no denying that everyone gets fucking pissed playing Gutsman's level because the platforming is so shit. um, but it's still it. I feel like even a bad Mega Man game is still a pretty goddamn good game. You know, I'd replay it, so maybe it doesn't belong in C. I've replayed them a bunch of times. But yeah, Mega Man 1. There's less bosses. It's simpler. And it's coding wise and feel wise, it's much jankier. Everyone knows this. Everyone who's ever played these games knows this. And that Mega Man 2 is an improvement on that. And it really is. Mega Man 2, uh, it doesn't add like a ton of features. The boss list is expanded. It's just it plays better. Um, and of course, it's not balanced. You beat Metal Man, and then his weapon just destroys everything else in the game practically. You don't even use the Buster in Mega Man 2 after the first level, which is crazy. It's fun and it's kind of unique, but it's definitely not probably what they intended. you know. Um, and here's my opinion that might ruffle feathers. I think Mega Man 3 is way better than Mega Man 2. I don't I think there's things about Mega Man 2 that irritated me a lot in my replay. Um, it's hard. It could have been a bit. It's hard for me to pinpoint them exactly. If I pulled up the footage, I'd probably be able to remember. But I feel like I was a lot more annoyed with things in Mega Man 2 than Mega Man 3. Now, to be fair, of the NES Mega Man games, Mega Man 3 was the one that I played first. I It's not my first Mega Man. My first Mega Man game was actually Mega Man X4 on PlayStation. But I always had relatives and friends and babysitters that had older consoles. So I was always playing older games, even when I was a kid. But Mega Man 3 was like the NES one that I got exposure to first. Um, I like the bosses in Mega Man 3 better. I like the stages. The slide's cool. Like, it just changes how you play. I think I like the Wily Castle better in 3 also. You always forget that like the Wily Castles are like they're like the last level. They're like the last half of the each of the games, especially in 4, 5, and 6 where you have multiple castles. They're like yeah, they're definitely a half of the game. Okay. And then we have Mega Man the Wily Wars. What is this? I disagree with the rating I gave this before. I think this is an A. Mega Man the Wily Wars is basically a remake of the first 3 games for the Sega Genesis. So it's basically a 16-bit version of Mega Man 1, 2, and 3. So it's a nicer looking version that plays a little bit differently. All of these games have bugs. It has slightly different, but it fixes some, has slightly different ones. What's cool about it is that you have Mega Man 1, 2, and 3. They have separate save files. They have actual save files. They're not password systems. It doesn't matter if you're playing emulator, you're just going to use save states. But they've got that. The characters look a bit more like their actual concept art because they're not 8 bits. They're 16-bit. Though it's not like the highest quality 16-bit. It's definitely a earlier it feels like an earlier Sega Genesis game. I don't even know if it is, but it feels like an earlier Sega Genesis game. And then what it also has is a mode, its own unique story that you unlock after you beat each of the 3 games, and it's called Wily Tower. And you have to fight these 3 bosses that are basically based on Journey to the West, like the Chinese story with Goku and stuff. You have to fight these Journey to the West characters, and what's really cool about this mode is it lets you pick weapons and special items out of all the moves from all 3 games. So you can pick up like Metal Man's blades, or Elect Man's lightning, or Snake Man's snake hunter, and you can get like the magnet beam from 1, or the balloons from 2, or Rush Jet from 3. And you can pick any combination of those to take into that playthrough. And you do those 3 fights, and I think there's actually like a Wily Tower thing too after it, if I'm remembering right. Either way, it was cool because you're getting Mega Man 1, 2, and 3, and then a whole extra game out of it. So I can't rate it lower than those 3 because like you're just getting more. It plays a little bit differently, and maybe you might have some, you know, a little bit of nuances that you might prefer. But I've never been a purist stickler for the NES Mega Man games. My favorite classic games are 8 and Mega Man and Bass. Like, I've never been like 9 and 10 were a huge disappointment to me. Like they're not bad games, but them going back to that style was a huge disappointment to me. Even 10 and honestly 11 are kind of disappointing. I wish they would have went with the high fidelity 2 look of Mega Man 8 and took it to the next level, but no one likes 2D. And then there's Mega Man Powered Up. Mega Man Powered Up is pretty cool too. It is a better version of Mega Man 1. It's better than Mega Man 2 also. Is it better than Mega Man 3? It's super debatable. It depends on what you want in a game. So it's like this chibi styled like PSP remake. It's really good. In Mega Man 1, it actually rounds out the boss roster because in Mega Man 1, it's the only one that has 6 bosses instead of 8. It actually adds 2 new characters. It's probably a little bit easier. But one of the things that's nice is you can unlock a bunch of characters. So if you beat, I believe it's if you beat a boss without using its weakness, you unlock them as a playable character, and you can like play the whole game as Gutsman, and he's got his own little story. You play as Gutsman. You can unlock Proto Man and Roll. I think they're DLC. But whatever. It's a PSP ISO that I just got it with the DLC. Um, uh, and there's different versions of Mega Man too. Like you can get a Mega Man that comes with Slide or the Power Shot or both. You know, like Mega Man 4 forward version of Mega Man to play Mega Man 1 with. So there's a lot of replay value. It also had like a stage maker function, but you know, we're not in the era anymore. You can't really use that and give it to people. I guess someone who was really into it probably could set something up. Whatever, suffice it to say, it's another improved version of Mega Man 1. You really should just play one of the 2 improved versions to Mega Man 1, unless you just want to play it for curiosity's sake. It's definitely the least buggy version, for sure. So if you just want a clean playthrough, Powered Up. Ah, damn it. I'm reevaluating here. No, I'm happy with these Mega Man ratings for now. So those are the Mega Man games. Next, this little section. So, I was working on like I was thinking of doing like a series on like Sega games, specifically Sega consoles and stuff like that. And I flirted with this idea a couple times. I've done like an off live stream every once in a while. But I did start getting a lot of footage for one of them, and a lot of people don't know this, but the first Sega console isn't the Master System. It's called the SG-1000. It came out on the same fucking day as the NES, but it was made to compete with the ColecoVision, so it looks an entire generation behind the NES. um, but it doesn't have a very huge library. It has like 60 games. And so on my own time, I played through them all, collected footage. They're none of them. It's ColecoVision era games. They're not big games, right? They're arcadey games. And Sega was a big arcade maker at the time, so a lot of them are straight up arcade ports. Anyway, I played through the entire library of it, collected footage, and I plan on making a video about it soon. I wanted it to be part of retro history, but it's gonna take some time before I even get to that point because I have to do the first generation console video, which I'm still in the research phase for. There's a lot of stuff to gather for. And then there's so many second generation consoles before I would even get to it. But the thing is, as a player, I'm not particularly interested in Atari era games. It really is that NES era forward where I'm interested in games. So just out of my own curiosity, I started recording the footage and playing them. So I've got some opinions on some of these. Basically, let me start with this. Most of this catalog, D tier. This console fucking sucks. Oh my god, 60 games, and I've got 4 I think I could say are decent. I just imagine that it's the Christmas of 1983, and you get a video game console shaped present, and you're in Japan because this only came out in Japan. You're a Japanese kid, and you're getting a Christmas present because sometimes Japanese people like Christmas. Um, sure, why not? It's Golden Week the next year. Fine, whatever. Whatever the fucking case. It's the holiday season, and you open it up, and it's not the NES. It's the Sega SG-1000, and you got approximately 56 trash games to choose from. I'm sorry, kid. No, really, a lot of them, even for being simplistic games, just weren't good. There was a few that were decent though, and that's what I'm gonna go over here real quick. We got Hustle Chew Me here. This game is cute as hell. You're a little mouse. You're a little mouse, and you're like going through sewers and jumping over things, and you got this little twirly tail that moves to the music, and it's just a really cute little arcadey kind of platformer kind of thing. It's like a single screen style platformer, like a Donkey Kong style. It's pretty fun. Goal Cave is the best shooter on the console. I think it's a side shooter if I'm remembering. God damn it, is it a side or a top-down shooter? There's a lot of shooters, but most of them aren't good on it. Like not even not good, they're bad. This is the decent one. If you want to play a shooter on that console, get Goal Cave. I believe it's one of the, they had two different formats too. They had a cartridge and a cheaper, smaller game that was like cards, like the Hue cards on the TurboGrafx 16. It's something like that. Anyway, if you want to play like a shmup on this console, this is basically the one to get. Goal Cave. And then Girls Garden. This is fun. This is a B ranker actually. This is actually a decent game. The basic premise of the game is you're collecting flowers to bring to your little girl, and you're collecting flowers to bring to the boy you like. But there's bears. There's fucking bears and bees that don't want you to do that. And you basically, there's these flowers that are growing frame by frame, and you got to collect them when they're in bloom and before they wither, and you got to get enough of them and then bring them to him before the time runs out or before you get eaten by a bear. And I believe, is it the Sonic the Hedgehog guy? This is his first game? Hold on. Who is it? Am I thinking right? Let me check real quick. Yeah. This is Yuji Naka's first game. So, he did, I mean, after this, he did Phantasy Star 2. So, Phantasy Star 2, then Sonic the Hedgehog 1, 2, and 3, and Knuckles. Yeah. Knights. Sonic Adventure, Phantasy Star. Man went on a tear until Balan Wonderland came out. But Girls Garden was his first game. And you can tell that he was like significantly better programmer than other people around him. And I was reading a Sega history book when I found out about this, about him making that game. And it's crazy. Anybody in that era was like, this guy, everyone wanted to poach this guy. He was so good. He was crazy talented. And this game is really fun and showcases that for like a first game. But there is actually a really easy best game on that console. Like really, really easy. It's actually good. And that's Monaco GP. It is a fun arcade game, and it's a good port of a fun arcade game. It actually feels fast, which, creating a sense of speed on a console like this, like I said, closest thing I can think of is ColecoVision that might be recognizable. Yeah, it's just a really cool racing game. I don't even like racing games. That's not true. Racing game and sport games, there were good ones before the PlayStation 1 era. That's not true. Some sports games stopped being good around the PlayStation 1 era. Racing games had a longer tail. And there's still good ones occasionally. There's still occasionally good indie racing games. Like, what is the one I saw recently? Parking Garage Rally. Awesome game. I think Night Hunter also. was cool. Um, okay, and then I have one last off-screen in 2025 game to talk about, and that is Higurashi When They Cry. Higurashi When They Cry is the best thing that I played all year, actually. It is better than Expedition 33. It's better than Deltarune. It's better than Hollow Knight and Silksong, Vampire Survivors. It's not better than two of my favorite games. It's not a game though, so this isn't a fair contest. It's a visual novel. It is an 8-part visual novel, and I got through all 8 parts. And the saddest thing about this game is that people will look at this game has different versions. If you get the version on Steam, it looks very different from this icon you're seeing right there. So basically, there's 3 different art styles for this game you can swap between. Oh, there's a mod. There's a mod you play with this game to get made for quality of life stuff, and also voice acting. Literally, you could add the Japanese voice acting to the game for the mod. So there's really no reason not to. But I think a lot of people will look at the original art from the original release of the game and think it's like some low quality trash. And it's not. It's actually a masterpiece. I got blindsided by this fucking game. I got blind. So, there's a mutual I have on Twitter. That's just a really goofy guy. That's the best way I could put him. He's a gnome. He's a garden gnome of a man. I don't know how to describe him, but he always posted fucking memes with these characters that were funny as hell, and I had no clue what the fuck it was from. But then Silent Hill F came out, and when I watched someone else play that, I didn't get to play that myself. That's why I'm not ranking it. I really, really enjoyed the storytelling in Silent Hill F. Really good. The writer of Silent Hill F is the same person who wrote Higurashi When They Cry. And Umineko, which I would like to read next. However, I believe it might be a 200 fucking hour visual novel. I believe it, or it's at least 100 hours. It's bigger than the Bible. I think it's 2 Bibles. Higurashi is not that long. Higurashi is like maybe a Bible. But anyway, I could do it on a whim. Thought this might be funny. It is a horror visual novel story with more heart in it than damn near anything I can think of. I was actually straight up blindsided by this game. It is a masterwork in like character study. I can't even begin. These characters, these stupid looking images you're seeing for these characters right here, and there's more modernized anime, visual novel character look to it you can put on. If that's not your thing. Honestly, I did. You can actually press a button with the mod and just switch between them any time. So if you want to laugh, just switch to the old models. But I can't even begin to describe how exhaustive you get to know these characters. You know them inside and out because what happens is it's got this chapter structure. There are 4 chapters called the question arc chapters. And these chapters are going over the same period of time, focusing on different characters each time. I don't want to get too deep into the weeds here because visual novels are the last thing you should be spoiling. Like they're the most vulnerable to this sort of thing in a way that, like a game isn't, because they are long commitment story only experiences, right? Like you gotta You gotta be a bit. I feel even I feel like I have to be a bit more considerate with that when it comes to visual novel type games. Um, and then there's another 4 chapters that are the answer arcs. So the first 4 chapters are presenting questions about the world, giving you these different perspectives, and it's all about giving you questions to try to form conjecture about what's happening in this game, in this plot. And I've never seen an author that is so sitting in the room with you. When you start a chapter, it'll tell you how hard it is to grasp ideas from it. They're like, forming a coherent conjecture from this chapter is damn near impossible. It just says that before you start it. And I love that. After you beat each chapter, there is a cast meeting where all the characters show up like they're actors, almost like the Looney Tunes. And they're coming up with their own theories about what their characters are going to do because they don't know because they're just the actors playing their characters. It's so God, I love it. Also the music. The music is actually amazing. Like I want to study. Like there's a lot this game has a lot of doujinshi like fan making community kind of thing going on, but there are some main musicians that are making a lot of the major tracks, especially in the back half of the chapters. I want to study this musician. I want to learn how to make what they make because they elicit such strong emotions out of stuff. There's some songs that there's just some moments that are just so crazy. Like there are emotional moments, but there's also moments that are so crazy because, like I said, this is still a horror story. Kind of hard to think that what I was just talking about was a horror story, right? But it is. It is. Though I think in some part, I think in the answer arcs, it becomes less of a horror story because you start to understand. The horror comes from not understanding what's happening. The first chapter is free on Steam. Go get it. Go get it. Do it. And then I'm not going to tell you you're going to do that and you're immediately going to get grabbed by it because you're not. Here's the problem. The way it originally looks is the first barrier. The second barrier is the opening of the first chapter. I understand why it is the way it is now. I wouldn't change it. But it is a filter. The first 4 hours of the first chapter is a filter. I don't know if it was designed as a filter. I understand exactly what it's designed to do. I can't talk about that in great detail. But what you need, but it takes the time to show you what your quote unquote main character's life is like in pretty good detail. What his relationships are like, what the people around him are like, how he feels about this community he's moved into. And there's a lot of schlocky anime hijinks for the first 4 hours. And basically it's just this fucking gaming club. Just being goofballs. But it's needed. It needs that setup. The overall story needs that setup. Even the first chapter needs that setup in order to create the effect it creates when things turn. Your heart will drop out of your fucking asshole when things turn. I've never been made to feel more paranoid than the first chapter of this story. The most insane, you feel like you're going schizophrenically paranoid from the first chapter in the story, which is free on Steam. I'm going to keep saying that. The first chapter is free on Steam. Play all the way through it before you make a judgment. If you are not compelled to want more, I literally don't believe you. um, goddamn. Now, I gained a lot of enjoyment just going into DMs with the person I mentioned before and just talking as I was going through the story. That was so fun. I really hope some people I know at some point play this thing so I can just have the pleasure of talking about the insanity with them. um, it's part of the fun. It's part of the fun just talking to people. 'Cause you know what? What's also cool? The online community that likes this game is really good about like coming to you at where you are in the game rather than spoiling things. Everyone knows what you were thinking and feeling at certain parts, or at least the kind of things you could think or feel at certain parts. Everybody gets it. Everyone's on the same fucking wave. That's so cool. Um, oh man, I could do an entire video on Higurashi. I thought about it. I have to get the footage. I didn't know what and when to record in a 100-hour visual novel, so I didn't record footage when I did it. But it's got a chapter select. I could go back and get the footage I need if I really wanted to. I've been thinking about it. I'm gonna do that someday. And I really want to play Umineko next. Heard nothing but good things about that too, and I can believe it. So that covers 2025. Now, what I've got left here is basically games that I played before the previous year because I didn't do this last time. I didn't do this last year, so I figured why not have a full definitive list? So okay, here's my 2025 list. Take it in. Take it in. Take it in. Now I'm going to make an overall list for the channel with these remaining items real quick. All right, what else we got? Paranormasight. I played, the first year of the channel, I almost didn't play any games off stream. I almost played everything I played on stream. This is like the only one I could think of. Maybe I just forgot. But Paranormasight, this is a B. This is another visual novel style game. It's like a detective game where you go around studying curses and using special curse effects on people. It's pretty cool. It doesn't have anything incredibly exceptional, but it's a fun romp. I'm gonna be kind of quicker with this. Endless Dungeon. Endless Dungeon. This is not Dungeon of the Endless. Dungeon of the Endless is the best tower defense game I've ever played. Endless Dungeon, which is supposed to be a remake of it, is a piece of fucking shit. I played one session of this on the stream. I might have delisted it because it pissed me off so much. It's just a bad like 3D remake of a good game. Amplitude made amazing games. Dungeon of the Endless, Endless Legend, Endless Space 2 are amazing games. Then Humankind was like an early access. And I bought it and never played it, and I don't know why I just never felt compelled, and people didn't seem to like it. And then this came out, and I didn't like it, and I don't know. It makes me really nervous for Endless Legend 2. I hope that game is good, but I don't have a lot of recent reason to think that. Tamarindo's Freaking Dinner. This game is goofy as hell. And I like the guy who makes it. He seems like a cool dude. He has a game, I think it's Steam Early Access, or maybe it's Kickstarter. I don't remember. He's got like a startup for a game called FIFA, which is like a horror FIFA game, like with zombies and murderers and stuff like that. It looks really cool, and janky. And this is really cool and janky, and I like the idea. It runs at like 10 frames per second. It doesn't fucking work. But man, keep doing it, Jacob Jazz. Eventually you're gonna nail it. I feel it in my bones. Dicey Dungeons. Some of these are just like games I played like a one-off session of. Dicey Dungeons. Dicey Dungeons is way better than you'd expect for a game you've never heard of. It's actually kind of addicting, and its music is fantastic. Its music is crazy good. Um, it's basically just like a dice-based RPG, but you're like rigging dice and getting special abilities and stuff like that. And yeah, it's just really fun. There's different modifiers and characters and stuff. It's I don't want to say simple game, but it's just really fun. Um, it's not like there's no like RPG story attached to it or anything like that. It's just like a role playing for role playing's fun, I guess. Like role playing system for role playing systems fun. Power World. Power World's cool. I think it was the first game that I streamed after making my VTuber model. I think it was the first one. Um, this game's radical. I was watching this game for like years before it came out because I love the idea. Uh, so I made no secret of the fact that I don't like survival games or like crafting survival games. This is the one I've played that I've enjoyed because I like the monster aspect and because you're making other things do it instead of yourself. um, it's just a cool game and it's way better than like you would initially think it is based on what you see in like concept. And it feels like they've been keep doing it, and also they've been legally sticking it to Nintendo and kind of coming out now and like winning. And that's fucking awesome. Keep doing that. Uh, so yeah, that was a game we played a couple sessions of, not a full series, a small series. When I went to Japan, there were two series that I pre-recorded and had release while I was out. One of those was UFO 50. I'm giving that a C. I did not play all the games in UFO 50. I played like maybe the top 20% in the lineup. Um, I just I didn't find a lot of them that I really they're cool. It's neat. I like the idea of this fake old video game company and their history of titles. I just didn't find that many that I found enjoyable enough. And even when I did enjoy some of them, there was always this feeling that I'm like, yeah, but like this is just meant to be a taste. Like there might be some, I don't know, maybe some of those games are like full ass games in there, but like that level of detachment keeps me from enjoying it a little bit too. And then the other one we did was World of Horror, and I love World of Horror. I don't think it's an A ranked game, but it is a game I do come back to almost every like Halloween season. I love the Junji Ito style graphics. I like the roguelike elements of it. I think I've played so much of it that I've seen most of the stuff. And the stories are all kind of optimally solvable, and once you've found that, it takes some of the variability out of the game. And I think that's what keeps it from being an A game, but it is a very good B. It's a very good B. Next, some Square Enix games. Kingdom Hearts Final Mix. A rank. Kingdom Hearts is good. Final Mix, which I didn't get to play back in the day as a kid, but you know, I got to play for the remasters, has some nice updates to it. It doesn't have in the first game, it doesn't have as much stuff as 2, but yeah, it's just like a dream team collaboration. They had better, if I'm remembering right, they had more celebrity voices in the first game than the second, right? I don't think that makes that much of a difference. I think even the impersonators do a good job with the characters. Like I didn't think about that as a kid. Um, Fun game, great systems, just really enjoyable. You know. Hold on, my phone battery. Ugh. Wait a minute. My VTube Studio is working. How is it not charging? That's weird. Maybe that cord is, I don't know. Well, I'm going to have to speed this up a little bit then because I'm at 20% battery. I thought I was charging this whole time. That sucks. Um, let's go next. Kingdom Hearts RE Chain of Memories. I gave this a C. Um, this is I've never played the GBA version to be honest. This was the version I played. I actually played it on PS2, which was a bit more of a rare PS2 game, I think. It was a very late PS2 game. Um, I think this game is all right in Sora's mode and fun in Riku's mode. I think Riku's mode, its simplicity, is more fun. Um, I think I would have rather just played a regular ass Kingdom Hearts game through this story, though. I think that's the truth, to be honest. So I think it lands in C pretty safely. Final Fantasy XIV Dawn Trail. I love Final Fantasy XIV. I didn't really love this expansion. I have not played the patch content, so I cannot tell you for certain if it gets better than the initial, expansion. Um, well, you can just look at the videos. You can tell this game made me genuinely angry because I feel like the story's downright talking down to me. you know, um, they forgot that you're the main character in this story, and it's a problem. Um, and I think the back end of the expansion, like of the main expansion, the last couple areas are really cool. They do some really good stuff that really brings it back. But at the beginning there's a branch and there's two different sections, and those two sections are the worst content in Final Fantasy XIV since A Realm Reborn. They're just awful, and that's your first impression, and it's hours of it. It sucks so bad. But ends stronger than it starts. Final Fantasy VII Remake. I talked about this a decent amount. We'll talk about Rebirth, but I do think Remake is actually better than Rebirth. I think it's a much braver game. It has all of the awesomeness of the of the cool remake and the casting, the awesome characters. Midgar is just such a fleshed out place now. I like meeting all the characters and the NPCs. I like the side quests, honestly. They weren't too bad. They weren't too many, unlike Rebirth. The materia system's still good. The gameplay's awesome. And like I said, I loved what they were doing at the end of that game. It gave me so much excitement for what was coming next. Remake's awesome. Ever Crisis is not. Ever Crisis is the Final Fantasy VII gacha game. And guess what? You can take literally one of the best games ever made, one of the best settings and characters rosters, and putting it in a gacha, it won't be good if you put it in a gacha. The thing that makes me most upset about this is that it has its own unique story that is relevant to the remake games, like Square Enix always does with mobile gacha games. And that story deserves to be fleshed out in a non-mobile format, in a non-gacha format. I hope this gets an offline version that completely rips out the gacha elements. Like Mega Man X Dive got an offline version, but it didn't do enough to rip out the shit gambling addict shit. Yeah. Gambling's for losers, and mobile games aren't games. Next. Megami Tensei 1. Okay, you know what? I feel like I have more respect for gambling than I do for mobile games. So go gamble, go do some dog races, that's fine, or whatever. I don't give a shit. Play some poker. Poker's fun, right? Okay. And then Megami Tensei 1 and 2. Not Shin Megami Tensei, but Megami Tensei 1 and 2, the NES games. Except I played the Super NES remake that has both of those games, as that you play, and you can actually, like, weirdly go from one to the other, even though they're completely different stories. Anyway, I'm going to rate these separately because they are completely different feeling games. Megami Tensei 1 is a first-person dungeon crawler with lots of traps and tricky stuff, and you need to kind of have a map. And it's just okay. Getting lost in this game really, really sucks. It, like, really, really, really sucks. But there's other stuff that's pretty fun about it. And Nakajima is the fact that you're playing as the character from the books. If you ever read the books, they're fucking crazy. It's like an alternate ending to the books. Um, the third book is contradictory to this game, which pretty much replaces it. Uh, but it's still cool. But Megami Tensei 2 is actually a good game. This is I mean, this is just Shin Megami Tensei 1. Like it's that formula. It got created in this, and it does it well. It does it really well, honest. Way better than you expect for the NES, right? Like way better than like Earthbound. It's same same era, way better, way better. Or like the NES Earthbound, right? Hell, it's better than I like Koyoraku's version of Megami Tensei 2 more than I like Earthbound for sure. For sure. Um, just does a lot of cool stuff, brings in the alignment system, the monster fusion's fun, it looks pretty good. For an NES game, even a remastered NES game. And one more Atlas game, Persona 3 Reload. Persona 3 Reload. I gave this an A, mostly because of Persona 3, not so much because of the reload. It's fine. Like, it looks good. The music's good. The gameplay additions are fun. Yeah, like the 3G system, like limit breaks and stuff, that's fun. I think Persona 3 is probably my favorite of that sub-series. I think I like it more than 4. My big issue, my big issue for this game, probably the reason it's not an S, honestly, is they didn't make a definitive game. I can't forgive these remaster projects that come in and remaster and put a lot of effort into a game that's like decades later, update, like huge big budget update, and then they don't put all the content in it. Take the extra fucking month and do it. The whole point of doing a remaster, not the whole point, one of the main points is to solve that question that's plaguing your customer base, which is, what version of this do I play? And the answer is, well, there's multiple versions and neither of them you can buy in order to get everything you want. Personally, I don't care that much about the FMC thing. But there is absolutely no fucking reason that was not in this game. There just isn't. Take the extra time. The only reason they didn't do it is because less than a year earlier, they put out a P3 portable remake before they even announced this, so that people would waste money on it, and then less than a month later announce this. I can't divorce that from the game itself. There's a cynicism tied to this remake that no matter how good it is, it can't be an S-rank game for me. They fucked people over. They straight up did that. And then they overcharged for the answer, which should have just been in it. Okay, Undertale. Undertale is an S. One of the best indie games ever made. I'd probably put it like one of the best indie games ever made. Full of heart. Of course, Deltarune, it couldn't be what it was without it, even though Deltarune was being worked on beforehand. It was the experience of making Undertale that makes Deltarune as good as it is. Amazing, fun gameplay, so much heart, characters. You just really care about these little sprite characters, and you form that connection really fast. It doesn't overstay its welcome. Has a very, very strong. Well, I don't really think about the genocide ending that much, but like the true pacifist ending is very, very strong. Came out at a good time for me. So I have like personal connection to it. Very good game. Undertale Yellow, the fan game. It's a C. It looks really nice. It sounds really nice. There's a lot of work put into it. Um, but I said it like when I was playing it. Fundamentally, fundamentally doesn't seem to get it. I guess, especially with the bosses, fundamentally doesn't get it. Um, hard for being hard's sake. They worked hard on it, and it looks and sounds nice. That's about the nice thing I can say for it. Everhood. Everhood is very good. Everhood's definitely better than Everhood 2. Even though Everhood 2 sometimes feels like a better playing game. I almost prefer Everhood's way of playing, where there's this section of the game where you can't fight back. And I think, some people will say like the biggest weakness of this game is that it takes too long to do its ending. Like its ending just keeps going and going. But I don't know, it's cool as hell. You do so much cool shit. There's so much cool things going on. And in the same way as Undertale, the characters are really cool. The way you meet them under different circumstances, and you're not truly understanding about the relationship between your character and them for quite a while. It's not a super long game, but like, I mean, over the duration of the game, there's quite a while of it where you almost misunderstand what the relationship is, which I think is very interesting. The music's awesome, way more memorable than Everhood 2. And you know what it does? It actually ends, and it ends with like some thought and care and meaning into it, and not a complete awful, terrible, cynical mess like Everhood 2. Night in the Woods. For me, this is an S rank game. This is not a visual novel, but it's a walk and talker with fun mini games in between stuff, and I don't know. It's just one of those games that comes out at the right time, the right vibe. It was one of those like Kickstarter games that I kickstarted. I think it was a Kickstarter game, and I played like they released these little supplemental things along the way, and I enjoyed each of those, and it got me excited for it. I think the characters in this game are just amazing. I love the small town atmosphere. It feels very close to home. Um, the characters have to deal with things that are very, relatable and um real. They talk the conversation feels real. I don't know. I just think it's a game with a lot of heart, and it's too bad everything else after it. It's just too bad. Um yeah, I don't want to get into that. The sequel was never going to be it. Let's just leave it at that. Even sequel's not happening now. It's not a sequel, but the spiritual successor is not happening now. But I always had this feeling in the back of my head that like it wasn't going to hit the same vibe because it just wasn't. The ingredients that made that happen were missing. Um Elden Ring. Elden Ring. It's I yeah. I don't want to get this game could only exist before COVID. I'll just that's a vague way of saying something. Um Elden Ring. Elden Ring. That's the last one I've got here just because it's such an easy S to talk about. Ooh. Oh, Elden Ring. So, I've been playing the From Software games since Demon Souls on PS3. Me and one me and my friend would play that nonstop, trade stuff, try to get all the achievements. Love that game. Dark Souls came out. Everybody loved that. Um, some people took longer. It took till like the Prepare to Die edition or whatever. Still, Dark Souls 2 was weird. Felt weird. I didn't hate it though. Um, what I did hate was the fact that they released a separately buyable improvement version instead of just patching the original. That, oh boy, I didn't play Scholar the first Sin for a long time. Can you tell I hate getting bilked by game companies? I fucking hate getting bilked. Um, Dark Souls 3, amazing. I have Sekiro, but I've never played it. I I'd like to at some point. Um, and then we got Elden Ring. I never played Bloodborne because I didn't really have a PS4. I had moved to PC by then. Um, but Elden Ring was just like, hey, what if we From Software was like, hey, what if we took the thing that we do and we just actually just perfected it, like actually perfect. Um, and they're like, yeah, let's do that with a lot of money, and we'll make it huge, like the hugest game we could possibly think of. And then they did it, and it was just the best game of that series. And it was huge. It had so much stuff to do in it. And then they were like, hey, what if we made a DLC that was even better than our already perfect game? Okay, I don't know if Shadow of the Erdtree is perfect, but it is. Boy, I don't even know if it's better than base game, but boy, is it just as good at least. Um, and you know, it's made to take it to the next level because you have the expectation of already playing the base game, right? Like it's kind of like Silksong. It's yeah, Silksong is to Hollow Knight what Shadow of the Erdtree is to base Elden Ring. Hmm. Yeah, I think that's accurate. Radahn was the farthest you could take the Elden Ring Dark Souls gameplay, and Silksong was the farthest you could take the Hollow Knight gameplay, reasonably. Not even reasonably, actually a few steps beyond reasonably, because I don't know what the stats are, but I'm sure there's a ton of people who played all the way through those games and could not get past like the hardest parts, had to give up. I'm sure there is a not insignificant chunk of people that were like that. Um, still, still amazing. I think I think I can arrange these really quick. I think I have like a number ranking. Yeah. Let me do this real quick. Xenogears in place 1, Expedition, then Expedition, and then Higurashi When They Cry. God, I might like Higurashi more than Expedition 33 though. Tactics Ogre, Deltarune. Deltarune's too nice for me. Undertale, too nice for me. Hollow Knight. Whoops. Tactics Ogre wasn't supposed to get caught. Hollow Knight Silksong. Night in the Woods. Now I'm basically arranging my favorite games that have anything to do with the channel that we've done so far. I'm arranging things for that, if that wasn't made clear. Remake. Elden Ring. Baldur's Gate 3. Vampire Survivors. At the top, Rebirth is actually at the top of A. If I could, if I didn't make it clear that it was kind of hard for me to decide where to put this, it's at the top of A. And then upgraded FF7, FF Tactics. You can see the games that are very much on the border of S, that have sort of had something push them down in some way, right? Some small element that pushed some of these down. Everhood. Mouthwashing. Kingdom Hearts Final Mix. Do I like mouthwashing more than Kingdom Hearts Final Mix? Probably. Not more than Kingdom Hearts 2, but probably 1. Just it's not always about like a complete like qualitative comparison. It's like how well do I think it succeeds at what it does, right? And how much do I like what it does? Then Time Stranger, then Megabonk, then Faith, then Mega Man Wily Wars, and Mega Man 3, AI the Somnium Files. And then under B, Dynasty Warriors Origins, World of Horror, Dicey Dungeons, Power World, Lunar, Megami Tensei 2, Home Safety Hotline. Damn, Metaphor. Didn't know I was treating you so bad. Monaco GP over Metaphor? Why did I do that? Whatever. I'll probably update it later. Pokemon Yellow 151 mod. Mega Man Powered Up. Mega Man 2. Wait a minute. I just missed it. That's all. Metaphor ReFantasia was the top of B. I was like, that doesn't seem right. Yeah. Mega Man 2. Paranormacite. And then what? Girls Garden? Yeah. And then in the C ranks, Crisis Core. It almost is in B territory. RE Chain of Memories. No Sleep for Kaname Date. Dot Hack. Bleach, Rebirth of Souls. Undertale Yellow. Dawn Trail. Earthbound Beginnings. Earthbound. Everhood 2. No. Everhood 2, I'm the harshest on. Because it's a good game that chose to kill itself. Megami Tensei 1. Like, Everhood 2's hatred is self-inflicted. Intentionally so. UFO 50. Hustle Chumi. Yeah, Hustle Chumi is more fun. Mega Man 1 is after Earthbound, my bad. There we go. Gull Cave. Yep. Then Enna is at the top because Enna has a chance to become good. It just wasn't yet. Ever Crisis because, I at least put time into it. It at least had a story in a section of it that I wanted to hear more of. Unbeatable because I liked it at one point. Tamarindos because at least it's funny. Endless Dungeon, I don't have anything nice to say about. And the rest of the Sega SG-1 catalog, I have nothing good to say about. Okay, here's my rankings for everything that we've played on the channel or is related to what we played on the channel these last 2 years. How's that? How about that? Let's download that for posterity. Oh boy, how long did we go, guys? How long did this tier list take to make? What's the time at? Ooh, 3 hours. God damn. 3 hours. Well, I think that's good then. All right, guys. So for what's happening next, I believe I'm going to be putting out those Earthbound episodes next. I wanted to do like a thing for some music albums, like best in year music albums. Because I was using Rate Your Music and looking at like the best results at the end of the year, what people thought. And I've been listening to them, but I'm not done doing that yet, so I can't do that video yet. And They Shoot Pictures, don't they? Updated their list of lists, their aggregate movie ranking list. So I was going to do that for movies too, but that takes even longer. So those are two things I'd like to do sometime soon, but they're going to take a bit. We're going to do, here's what's going to happen. Those Earthbound videos are going to come out, and then we're going to stream Mother 3. I feel like I'm going through these Earthbound games to get to Mother 3. I feel like Mother 3 is the one that actually matters here in this conversation. I want to see what's going on with that. So we're going to stream that one, okay? All right. Um yeah. And the Baldur's Gate playthrough is on hiatus until I figure out if this bug can be fixed because we're not playing the game without Shadowheart. She's just randomly disappearing every camp I go to. I can't I can't do that. I can't do a playthrough with that. Anyway, thanks for watching, guys. I hope you enjoyed. Maybe I should have made this playlist this public. So can you comment? I've never actually played with Tier Maker before. Can people comment on them? I don't know. Anyway, we'll update this next year too. We'll just keep updating this. Keep this as an ongoing list. That's why I need the image to make sure in case I lose it that I can recreate it. But anywho, I hope you guys had a good evening, and I'll see you soon. Happy New Year.